Welcome to Bearing Light, a podcast of the Georgia Bulletin, news source of the Catholic Archdiocese of Atlanta. I'm Nicole Golden, and joining me and Andrew Nelson today are Cynthia Alvarado and Teresa DeVeja of Young Catholic Professionals. And I believe Cynthia is the Director of Evangelization and Teresa, the Membership Director for the group. Did I get that right, folks?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you and welcome. They're here today to talk about faith lived at work and their group itself.
Yeah, Young Catholic Professionals. So thank you all for joining us this afternoon today for Bearing Light. Before we get going, talking about the organization, can you share a little bit about yourselves? Kind of tell us a little bit about what your faith life was like growing up. And as young adults, what influenced you to stay active in the church and in your faith?
Would you like to go first, Teresa, or would you like me to go?
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
So I was born and raised Catholic, went to church every Sunday with my family. I think one thing that sticks out in my childhood is that my parents prioritized praying the rosary together as a family, and I think that helped instill the faith in me and my siblings. And then, when I went to college and eventually grad school, I continued keeping the faith and praying, and I really credit that foundation that my parents gave me with continuing to practice my faith. And I eventually moved back to Atlanta for work, and I had heard about Young Catholic Professionals just through friends and attended one of their events. And I felt like it was a really great community of like-minded individuals who all share a set of shared values, and that drew me to the organization.
And share a little bit of yours also.
Yes. So I grew up here in Georgia, so I've been in Georgia my whole life. I'm one of 5 kids. We grew up going to Mass like every Sunday, but it was definitely more of a cultural ritual. So it wasn't like it was taught to me that, it was important to go to Mass, and, I was Catholic, but I was never given the reason like why. So I just continued. I never really fell away from I never stopped going to Mass. But I definitely was confused for most of my, most of like my later teens to like early 20s. And it was until like my grandma passed that she always prayed the rosary. So definitely the rosary was like kind of like a way in which I cultivated my faith always. I always just remember my grandma praying the rosary, but when she passed, I learned that, from, other family members, she died like holding the rosary beads in her hands. So even though she didn't have like the strength to like fully say, a Hail Mary, but she just continued to just always have her faith, even like on her deathbed. So after that, like I just continued praying. Like I started to pray the rosary, and I did it like every single day. And then just started praying to find like a Catholic community, which led me to running a 5K in a sunflower field with my friend that's also Catholic but not practicing. And then after the race, I see, a young lady, and she just looks very friendly. And then she sees me, and I never really like talk to people like at public events or anything. But then she just looked very inviting. And then I walked up to her and I just said, hey, do you know when they're going to post the results for this 5K? And she says, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to post it on Facebook. And she notices like my Our Lady medal, which is Our Lady of Guadalupe. And she says, are you Catholic? And I say, yes, I am Catholic. And for some reason, I just felt, called to just tell her, yeah, like I've been looking for a Catholic community. And she like at that right then and there, she's like, hey, can I get your number? I would love to invite you to a retreat for Catholic young adults. And ever since then, like I just have like a heart to serve. And I was introduced to just a huge Catholic community. And then shortly after, like maybe 2 years, I went to a Young Catholic Professional event and just loved the community and still had a heart to serve at that point as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Sounds
That's
like a rosary connection for
Yes,
both of you.
And I got to say, I've run many 5Ks myself, and I've never had that kind of conversation. More like just trying to stay awake or stay upright. So well done. Well done for you. That's awesome.
We probably have a lot of listeners who are unfamiliar. They're your age group, but they unfamiliar with what Young Catholic Professionals is. So kind of describe, both of you, maybe take turns, describe the mission of YCP in a sentence or two.
Sure. So the mission of YCP is to really foster community for young adult Catholics and show them that it's possible to integrate your faith into your work and that, there are others out there like you. And, they do that through various social events and also professional development through speaker series. And the goal of the organization is really to foster community.
And it sounds like a professional development on the side is a side benefit, a little twofold mission there.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Teresa said, that our faith doesn't just stop at like when we go to Mass or when we're serving at Catholic events, that we can integrate our faith even in our work settings. And it can even be a way in which we can evangelize if we feel called to, or if there's an opportunity to do so. And then just walking with other young adult Catholic professionals can just help you to not fall away from your faith, which a lot of young adults, it's so easy to do so once they have their careers and their professions.
Yeah, I remember those days. It isn't easy. So, about how many members do you all have right now?
Roughly, we have about 100 members in the Atlanta chapter.
And where do you meet? Do you all have any special kind of signature events that are on the calendar for Young Catholic Professionals?
So our events kind of rotate around different parishes or venues in the Atlanta area, but the main types of events we have are social events. So those would be like networking happy hours, or every year we have an Advent party. And this past year in 2025, we had a 5th anniversary party. We also have events that are focused more on professional development, so an executive speaker series and panel discussions where we bring in either clergy or business leaders who are Catholic to talk about their faith, their experience integrating their faith into their work. And they also can answer questions from our members. So those are the main types of events that we have.
And how, always for us, we work at the church, and so it's easier to probably live our faith at work. But what are a couple of ways that you all found this helps you to not necessarily hide your faith, but to live it out while you're at work and probably around people who are not Catholic too?
Yeah, I would say for me, definitely it's because I have met so many young adult Catholic adults around my age or sometimes even younger. And then just knowing that to some extent, because you're a leader, that you're held up to a higher standard, not in a way that you feel like you're pressured or that you're obligated to do something, but it like a gentle kind of invitation to live up to a certain set of standards for yourself, and just and then sometimes even I have some friends that will ask me about the events, and just reminding them, and then just having that like open door of welcoming, and just having that open door and having them know that someone is checking up on them, or even just inviting them. A lot of people, they just want to be invited somewhere when you just personally invite them, and it just makes them feel like special. But I don't know, to me, that helps me to always have a sense of welcome towards others. And I think that helps me to just, I don't know, it cultivates my faith in some ways. And then also within this community, I'm even part of some like a Bible study with other young women that also attend the events. So just being part of a community that, we, like Teresa said, we go to, happy hour, we have some retreats, and we have the executive speaker series, and a lot of young women that attend those events. I'm also part of like the Bible study that they're the same Bible study that they're a part of, which I don't know, it just like continuing to cultivate that community and deepening those friendships, and because we are part of a church that we can cultivate our faith on our own, but then also we're also part of a community. So yeah, I don't know if that
No,
makes
it does.
sense.
It does.
It does. Very good.
Yeah, and I
Very
think
good.
sometimes too, practicing virtues at work that through your faith, like kindness, and maybe a group like this helps you all to remember that in the stress of daily work life. So,
Yeah. Teresa, can I ask you, how would you say your participation with Young Catholic Professionals, how would you say it's shaped your faith and your professional life?
Yeah, I think in terms of shaping my personal faith, it has made me a little bit more active in the wider Catholic community, because I think, prior to joining YCP, I would, go to Mass and say my prayers and the rosary like by myself. But as we discussed multiple times already, like YCP provides a community and a way for you to meet other Catholics. And like Cynthia said, you can join a Bible study, or you can, reach out to others who understand the same struggles that you might be going through in terms of, how do you practice your faith in the modern world. And in terms of helping me professionally, I think what you touched on at the very end about incorporating some of the virtues of the faith into work. And, a lot of that is like when I'm having a stressful day at work, or a coworker is kind of bugging me, or, wanting me to do something on a very quick or short deadline, I can take it all with grace and be like, what, this is something that the Lord is giving me for a particular reason, and try to think about it from that way or perspective.
I need to take that under advisement.
No, when we annoy each other, we'll try to approach it with some grace.
Yes, exactly. Let me write that down.
Write that down, Andrew. Grace. You hear that from your fellow members too, similar ideas, and that's what it brings to their life as well.
Yeah, why do people join YCP? Like, what do you hear from your colleagues about what brings them into the door?
Go ahead, Cynthia.
Oh, sorry, Teresa. I was just going to say community and building friendships, I think, is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of young adults join the community. Because it can be kind of lonely, especially like if you have a corporate job. In some ways, you almost feel like you have to hide your faith. So it's just a breath of fresh air, almost a sense of relief and freedom to say, like, I don't have to hide my faith here. I can pray, I can do the sign of the cross. And we're invited to do those things anyways, even if, we do feel a little bit awkward. But just to have that freedom that, I'm not alone in the world. There are other young adults that are wanting to grow closer to Christ and are also, in this walk with me. So I think, yeah.
You mentioned the executive speaker series, so I wanted to circle back around to that. Will there be more of those in 2026? And also maybe what are some of the topics that speakers have addressed that really you can put into practice? What are, in practical ways, apply what they've talked about?
Yeah, so we definitely do anticipate there being executive speaker series in 2026. I think one prior event that stood out to me and a lot of the other members that attended was we had a speaker who gave a talk on Love Thy Coworker, which I think is, very like a very relatable topic to a lot of people.
Well, you spend a lot of time with coworkers, and so you know them well, and you're just going to have good days and bad days. So I imagine that was a very relatable topic. What about you, Cynthia? Were there some things that stood out to you topic wise?
Oh yeah, definitely. The Love Thy Coworker was a really great one, and we had just some excellent speakers, Monica Opperman and Randy Hain. They brought so much wisdom to that panel discussion, and then we had another one that was about hope. So just like, because last year was the Jubilee Year of Hope, we wanted to continue that and speak about hope in the workplace, which is something, we all need, not only like in our personal lives, but also we can integrate the virtue of hope in our work life as well. Because, there, especially right now, the job market is kind of a little bit tricky, and people were laid off last year, so we definitely thought that was important to talk about hope with all of the setbacks that were happening last year in the workforce. Yeah.
Oh, that's very, very important. That's really great.
And so we mentioned you do anticipate speaker series. What are some other goals and initiatives for the coming year? Some programs that you all might be working on?
So we definitely, one of our probably key, we're trying to focus in on like our panel discussions, which is different from our executive speaker series, because the executive speaker series is like we ask one speaker to come, and they'll it'll be more tailored to their expertise, which the panel discussions are still similar to that, but we'll have like 3 speakers, and we'll have various questions to speak to them. So one of the goals is to we'll have some questions that are geared more towards the faith, and those may be directed more towards our priests, because we usually ask like one priest to come, and then we'll have like maybe a consecrated woman to come, and then someone that is working in the professional world, a business leader or business owner, and have more of the career centered questions geared more towards our business owners, and then that way just being able to kind of have that good balance of these faith-based questions and professional development, because our young adults are they're interested in both. They're not just interested in professional development, but they're also wanting to know how to grow in their faith as well. And then tailoring, we try to focus on one virtue for each like panel discussion. So kind of like what Teresa was saying, we had one that was like love thy coworker, and the virtue was love, and then we spoke about hope. So then, for the upcoming year, we'll also be touching on different virtues, and then just kind of tailoring that to the speakers that we select as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's really
like
great.
A busy year.
It certainly does. One thing that I really like about what I've heard from you all is, help me understand this more. Do you feel like, as young professionals yourself and with your talking to your colleagues of your organization, that perhaps you don't find similar aged or like-minded or professionals in your parishes? So this is a sort of a third space. Starbucks is supposed to be like a third place for people to hang out. Is young Catholic professionals kind of, you want them to fill in that gap for, if people don't find young adults in their parish, here's an avenue to hang out and learn?
I would agree. I think because another mission of YCP is to get our, because we have a lot of young adult professionals that have traveled or moved here for work. So they are more than likely, they live far away from family. A lot of them are not married. So the YCP kind of creates that space for community. so yeah, but our goal is to get them to the parishes. So maybe if they're not involved in their, wherever their home parish is, maybe they're not involved in the young adult group there, then that is an opportunity for us to kind of encourage them to do that. So it's not so much to like compete with the parishes, but more so to get them into the parishes and work alongside other young adult ministries around the Atlanta area in order to do that, in order to accomplish that.
Oh, that's interesting. That's great. It's kind of to feed people who may feel disconnected back to the parish.
And are you all, both of you can answer this, are you all tied to a particular parish yourselves, or do you attend Mass at several places? What's your usual routine there?
So I usually attend Mass at St. Oliver Plunkett in Snellville, but I grew up going to St. John Newman, so I kind of bounce back and forth between the two.
Right.
And occasionally I will go to Mass at the cathedral.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Very good.
A good young adult community there at the cathedral.
Oh yeah, robust. Yeah, it's great. Cynthia.
I definitely bounce between parishes. I love going to my closest parish, which is St. Gabriel, that's in Fayetteville. But I definitely love going to Mass at the cathedral. I'm really drawn to my faith by beauty. So the cathedral is absolutely just stunning. And I find that I am just paying more attention whenever I'm surrounded by beauty. So I also love going to the cathedral. And also Holy Spirit is they just have amazing priests there. So I find myself bouncing between those three parishes.
Oh, wonderful.
That's interesting.
In fact, we are so excited to have you, but we didn't quite forget to ask. Tell me a little bit about what you do for work and kind of what your age, right? To verify that you're not that people who are actually talking to young adults and not people.
Your actual work.
Yes.
What is it
Your
that you
expertise.
all do?
Sure. So I'm in my early 30s, and I'm a public health statistician. I work for a government agency doing a lot of data analysis in the public health space. So that's what I do for work.
No, that's great.
We always admire people who have an affinity for numbers, because we are not those people.
Absolutely.
And Cynthia, what is your career?
Yes. So I have a background in risk management, but currently I got, laid off of last year. So I currently am now working for Georgia Power in their finance department, which I don't have, a background in finance, but it somehow ended up working out still with the risk management, background. So, I'm in my early 30s as well.
Oh,
similar.
Sounds
to
like
Teresa.
you're learning a lot of new things there, probably. So,
Yes, yes.
That's great. Well, last question. I would really appreciate it. This has been very fascinating, and want to make sure at the end we save time for you all to make a pitch, so where people can educate you, reach out to you. But how about this? If you could offer a piece of advice to a young Catholic trying to balance faith, work, and life, what would it be? What have you learned? What would you say to somebody who's feeling like underneath the water?
I would say pray. That would be my number one piece of advice, is to it doesn't have to be a formal prayer. It can just be kind of stream of consciousness. That would be my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice would just be talk to somebody, like a friend, or, if you know somebody at your parish that you're kind of struggling, I would say talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I think for me, like, the best advice I could offer is, definitely pray, but definitely don't be afraid to fail. Be okay with failing. It's a way in which you can build resilience. So even though if you've come across like a setback, it can be a way, like a blessing. And sometimes you can learn your best you can just gain so much wisdom in failing or just going through something difficult. I think the biggest poverty in someone's life is never going through anything difficult or never having any failure. So it's okay to fail, as long as you just get back up and then just keep your eyes on God, and don't compare yourself to others, and just, even just kind of contemplating the world around you, and then thinking about your existence and how God willed you into existence, and how, you are important. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. That's
I think
beautiful.
you both have offered wonderful advice for all of us, not just young Catholics, but for all of us. And I thank you.
100%.
Yes.
Website.
Yes.
Or how can people contact you, or when is your next event?
So they can contact us by going to the National YCP website. That's youngcatholicprofessionals.org. And then they can find the Atlanta chapter on there. They can also just do that. They can email us and get access to our group me, which we use to advertise a lot of events. And it's a way for our members to connect with each other.
Sounds like the website is the best way to learn more information. And again, it's youngcatholicprofessionals.org?
.org, yes.
.org. Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you.
Great. Well, we appreciate both of you being here and talking about your group and your own faith journeys. And maybe you can join us again sometime.
Yeah, this was great.
Thank you so much. Find all the Catholic news of North and Central Georgia at www.georgiabulletin.org. Thank you to listening to Bearing Light, found the first and third Mondays of each month on your favorite podcast platforms.